channel. This is No Luck Trucking? Question mark. I'm Matt. Liz is next to me. We are not doing much trucking at all. Give me 1 second. Let me back out of the driveway without hitting anything. So we are in our personal truck, our pickup truck, the project truck. It's a little temperamental right now. I'm like 99% sure that it has a bad head gasket, but we're really not trying to put that much money into this as is. So right now it doesn't spit coolant out, it doesn't overheat, it just consumes a little bit of coolant, and every once in a while it gets super temperamental and it'll shut off sometimes. It misfires a little bit. Yeah, you'll have to ignore the wind noise. We have the old-fashioned AC. Roll down the window and get a little breeze going. What is the outside temperature today?
It's about 50 last time I looked.
Yeah, it's a decent day.
Yeah, it's another nice day.
Alright, so we're gonna go over to the parts store. We need to pick up a few parts. So what have we been up to? Well, we dropped our truck off at the body shop. For those that have not had a chance to catch up on all of our adventure a few videos ago, we let everyone know that we did get hit while we were out driving. We were in the left lane passing, truck swung over and struck us with a flatbed. Did a little bit of damage. Nothing like structural or anything like that, but it did some visual damage, and I guess some parts needed to be replaced, specifically the wheel studs, the turn signal. A lot of paint, a lot of body work that's going to be needing to get done. And we got paid from Progressive for the first part, for the actual repairs. Came out to be $4,600, I believe, somewhere in that neighborhood. We took it over to the body shop that we wanted to use, which oddly enough is actually a preferred body shop of Progressive as well, so that worked out pretty well. So if there's anything else that they need, part-wise or money-wise, we roll up to AC. It's a little too high. They can just get with Progressive and get that money sent over. So we got with them last week on a Friday. Thursday, Friday, something like that?
Yeah, I think it was Friday.
Yeah, and they got the parts on order. He said they would be there Wednesday. We didn't get a call Wednesday, so we called Thursday, which was yesterday. Right?
Yep.
Am I missing? Yeah. Okay.
Friday.
Yeah. So they gave us a call back and said that everything was in and they were ready for the truck. So we hopped in the truck, took it over there, and dropped it off. And then, so we have been kind of entertaining ourselves. A few things. We dug into the GTO. So Liz and I were able to drop the transmission, take the old clutch off, take the old flywheel off. We're going to replace the rear main seal because it looks like it's leaking, or if it's not, you know, we have the parts, might as well do it anyways. We're replacing the flywheel and clutch with one that's rated for about 700 horsepower. And we need to do a fuel pump.
And radiator.
And radiator.
Depending the crank.
Yep, we have to drill 2 holes in the crankshaft and put little pins in to keep the balancer from spinning on the bolts on the crank. Happens when you put like a supercharger on that adds more drag to the accessory drive, or when you start making a lot more power and stuff like that, you can spin. The balancer is not heat, so it's basically pressed on, and you can certainly spin it right off. So we have to pin it so that won't happen. And then we should be ready to get it tuned. Should be done. And then we can actually start working on this bad boy. So we bought this truck. It was, how much did we pay for this? $3,000?
$3,000, I think.
Yeah, we bought this for $3,000. It had a V6, 4.3 liter, same motor that's in like the Blazer and S10 and I guess a few other Chevy things. So you can see it shaking a little bit. It gets us around. That's all we really needed. But we bought this with the intentions of swapping in an LS into it eventually. But we wanted it to get us around, which it does a pretty good job of that. Some days it's a little temperamental, some days it's not, you know, but...
We have a transmission for it already.
We do. Yeah, so we bought a beefy transmission for it.
Are we going to O'Reilly's?
Yeah, I think so. Bought a transmission for it. We're gonna go pick up a motor. So we ended up taking our standalone Holley computer off of the GTO, and we're putting that back on stock ECU. We're taking the Holley and we're gonna put it on this. This actually is going to be a better platform to build a drag car or a drag vehicle. It's not a car. This has a straight axle, a lot more support for it. It is already automatic. It's like, yeah, everyone always wants the manual sports car and stuff like that, but when you start drag racing with a lot of power, launching a manual is not easy. It's not cheap. So you start finding the weakest link very fast, and the GTO has quite a few of them, and they're very expensive because the car's not, it's not like a Corvette or a Camaro or anything like that where there's a huge aftermarket. I mean, the car here was only made from 04 to 06, so it's not like there's a huge crazy aftermarket for it anyways.
Yeah, you rarely find them in the junkyard.
Yeah.
And then even if you do, they're not always the same 6.0 and same year transmission. Like, that transmission's super expensive, isn't it? That
Yeah,
one?
T56s are not cheap, and they're not exactly like, they're not that strong, to be honest. Everyone thinks they're like the pinnacle of manual swaps and stuff, but they're really not. They don't, I mean, in stock form, they don't hold the most power, and they're pretty notchy. I mean, I'd love a TR6060, but those transmissions are very expensive, so we're just gonna kind of work with what we have. And that was the reason that we took a step back from making the GTO the drag car, because at the time that's what we had, and we were gonna do it slowly, like replace the parts with better parts as we broke them. But after we got this, I mean, this is the perfect chassis for putting down any sort of power. You know, there's the differentials and axles and stuff from the heavier duty trucks that we could swap in. There's tons of companies that make aftermarket straight axles for it. The LS goes in pretty easily. Plenty of room for a turbo, intercooler, all the piping. The automatic transmission that we got is pretty beefy. Like, you put a shift kit and a good torque converter on there, and it will it'll hold 700-800 horsepower easily.
Oh, don't die.
Almost. So that's half the fun with this truck.
When's it gonna die?
Is it gonna leave you stranded? Is it gonna make it? Is it gonna overheat? You never know. All right, we're gonna run in and grab some parts. We'll be back. All right, spent $100 and something at the O'Reilly's. Well, I think half of it's like the tool rental. I need to pull the pilot bearing out of the crank on the GTO. So all of our tools are in storage in Richmond, and we are not in Richmond. It's like an hour, 2 hours away. So we just had to, we'll just rent their tool and bring it right back. Where did we leave off? We were talking about the plans for this truck. But so in non-car related world, we've been keeping ourselves entertained. We We got a smoker for Christmas, and we have been using it quite a bit now. And we're good. We're not blocking it.
Yeah.
People can go by. Yeah, we being up basically on the edge of, we're like on the edge of town, but if you go a little farther out, there's like a lot of farms, a lot of country. So there's actual like butcher shops and stuff with like fresh meat. So we went and got how many pounds was that bad boy?
It was 16.5 pounds.
Yeah, 16.5.
$5.99 a pound.
Beef brisket.
Beef brisket.
And it was butchered pretty well. Like there was not a whole lot of extra fat on there. We trimmed up a little bit, but I mean, we could have
a tiny little pile of fat.
We could have thrown it in exactly how it was, and it would have been fantastic. And so we cut it into thirds because we have a small smoker. It's like an entry level one. We wanted to make sure. Actually, not even an entry level one. It's
pretty nice.
It's probably the best
smoker.
smaller one that you can get. That's not like a Traeger or anything like super expensive, but it is not time to go. But it's been working out pretty well. The only downside is we did have to cut the meat. We cut it into thirds. So we have the one that we did last night while we were doing the YouTube live. Actually, we had a third of the brisket on there. We cooked it for, I don't even remember the time, probably like somewhere between 4 and 6 hours on the smoker at 250-ish. And we did that one in Central Texas style, which is basically use mustard as a binder, and then use we used large peppercorn and sea salt, and basically you just let the smoke add the flavor, and it came out fantastic. From what I understand, the brisket is a little bit harder to do on the smoker, so that's kind of like the challenging thing to kind of learn.
It looks like it's open.
Oh, is it open?
Yeah, I think
Yep. Okay. Old manual windows. This is a work truck model, so it doesn't have very many frills.
I have it blocked over there anyway.
Let's see.
Should be better weight-wise eventually anyway, right?
What's that?
Drag strip things.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see, where were we? Yeah, so the salt and pepper and just the smoke flavor kind of makes the flavor. It gives it a nice called bark. You know, the exterior of it. It was nice. The one that we cooked looked identical to what everyone was showing as like this is what it should look like, and it had a nice smoke ring. So in my book, it was fantastic. Oh, I guess we learned I guess a valuable tip was to let it rest for a while. So we took it out and then we wrapped it up and put it in a cooler basically overnight. We took it off at like 11 or 12 at night, something like that.
Yeah, it ended up being about 10 hours.
Yeah, and then so you leave it wrapped up because like towards the end of the smoking, like all you guys that smoke already know this, but people that don't, you know, you kind of like last a little bit after it gets up to a certain internal temperature, you get the nice smoke and the color and everything. You kind of wrap it so it continues to cook but doesn't add any more smoke flavor, so it doesn't get like sour tasting. So we did that and left it wrapped, took it straight off the smoker into a cooler, and you just let it kind of slowly, you know, lose heat, and it kind of soaks in its own juices and stuff. So it was still warm this morning when I cut into it. Man, it was fantastic. We had Liz cooked some toast and eggs, so we had brisket, eggs, cheese.
It was good. Oh, with the local smoked Gouda.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was good.
it was really good.
Fantastic. All right, we're gonna open up the storage unit and I'll kind of show you what we've been up to there. All right, so we jacked it up. There's 4 jack stands, 4 tires, or 4 wheels under the tires and wheels. That is our low mileage 6 liter. That's a TVS 2300 Supercharger. It is air to water, so that's the heat exchanger. I guess most people use it interchangeably. They call it a intercooler. It's technically not, but you can call it whatever you want. So we have the front bumper off. Actually the transmission's over here. This heavy boy that's down there. We got some part replacing that we got to do. I got to pull the pilot bearing out.
So we have to take the radiator out.
Yep.
And the AC condenser?
Nah, AC condenser can stay in. We have a right angle drill, so we're gonna have to take the crank pulley off. No, actually you don't take the crank pulley off. Take the crank bolt out. Yeah. Take the crank bolt out, drill 2 holes. There's a deburr tool. You kind of like bore it out, and then you put those 2 supplied pins in.
I was gonna say they came with the kit, right?
And yeah, and then you put the bolt back in, and that basically pins it.
Are we gonna do the radiator today and do all that, or are you just gonna do the pilot bearing?
Probably not. We got to clean up and.
Or you still have the transmission fluid?
Yeah. All right, we're gonna do some work. We'll pick up a little bit later. All right, didn't film it, but this is the old rear main seal cover. Took that off. Pretty sure it was leaking around the rear main seal. I think the car has, what is it, like 70,000 miles, something like that. The seal was like a little dried up, and you can kind of see the oil around here where it was like splashing around behind the flywheel. So we replaced the gasket behind there. We got a whole new plate that had a seal already pressed in. So I did that. We replaced it. We replaced the pilot's bearing, which these little needle bearings right here, they exploded everywhere. Taking the old one out. This is the old one. So it has a little bit of battle damage. All of the needle bearings are out actually. We use that to hammer the new one in, so it'd go in square. Yeah, this can all go into
all trash.
Yeah, it's not going back. That's trash. But we got that centered, got it in, and then I realized that there was like a needle bearing or 2 behind the new one. I guess it had shattered and sent little needle bearings inside the crank, like the recess for the bearing, nothing crazy. So we had a magnet, so we got those out. And now I think we're gonna clean up and... Alright, just a little quick pit stop. We got a little bit done. I mean, we still have other things we have to do to the car, but also today, so we don't want to spend a ton of time on
It's choosing pilots.
It's fine. Sometimes the truck wants to go, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, we don't want to spend too much time on it. We'll have other days where we can spend a ton of time. Yeah, it's pretty much down to we have to put the flywheel and clutch on, put the transmission back up, and then we have to do the fuel pump. And we are okay. Gates open, cool. We are pretty much done with what we need to do on the GTO before we get it towed up to get tuned somewhere. And now we're gonna go get some wood chips for the other beef brisket that we're gonna smoke tomorrow. But we gotta go dump the oil
return the tools.
And return the tools. Yeah, the truck definitely has like a stumble. I'm pretty sure it's because the spark plug, for whatever cylinder that the coolant is leaking into, the spark plug is probably fouled out by now. But I just really don't want to put any time and effort into this truck. It just literally needs to last us until we get done with the GTO. Then we can drive that while we put this down. So we don't really go too far away, you know, maybe a 10-mile radius max, which the truck does a perfect job for. It's nothing fancy. It doesn't even have AC. I mean, it has it. It doesn't work. Alright, we are going to go return this tool, get our money back for that, dump this oil, and we'll probably pick up on the way home. I just picked up some more wood for the smoking. I think we're gonna do, what did we get? Hickory this time. Last time we had mesquite. So we're gonna try hickory wood chips. Just gives it a tiny bit of flavor. I don't think it really does a ton. And we got some cherry wood to try as well. I think we're gonna try to smoke some salmon. See if we can pull that off. That'd be pretty cool.
We have a good seafood. Was it fishmonger?
Is that the
I think that's the term.
the official name?
Yeah, that's the official name. They have really good scallops and all sorts of stuff. They have really good salmon from somewhere near Iceland or something. But have to pick up some more of that.
Yeah, it's pretty nice living in like a small town, and there's like fresh ingredients everywhere. You know, driving in any distance and you can hit a farm, or you know, some like fresh fish, fresh meat, fresh vegetables. It's nice.
Yeah, my mom has I'm trying to remember the name of that farm that we bought all that meat from recently. Graceland? Something like that? No.
I think it was.
Graceland Farms, local guy that raises pigs and cows and chickens and sells all sorts of stuff. So I don't know, lots of local farmers that my mom's made friends with that sell stuff.
I think we're gonna try to do another live before we go back on the road. I hope I gotta be in the left lane, right?
No,
Oh.
we're good.
I hope that we get the truck back hopefully Monday or Tuesday, so we can get back out and start making some money. We got to get with Green APU and get an appointment to get a APU installed finally, so everyone can stop asking or stop telling us about Green APU like we've never heard of them.
You know what would be the best thing? If somebody told us, have we heard of Green APU, and we already have one installed? That'll be the new thing.
Yeah, definitely. Gotta get something to eat. Probably gonna. Do we want to have some more brisket?
Yes. Well, no, I have the steak set up
For dinner, right?
Yeah, but it's $4.20. Yeah, I mean, brisket would be a good snack.
Yeah. I'm sure everybody else wants to try some.
It's true, I don't know if my mom's home yet.
So that's pretty much what we've been up to, just perfecting the smoking craft and working on the GTO, getting the truck over to the body shop to get it repaired. Yeah, it was like a little impromptu vacation, but it's fine. The weather has been nice. Every few days it hits like 60s, 70s, and then it'll drop back down to like the 30s and bipolar weather, but it's been good. We finally just just jumped headfirst into taking the trans down on the GTO and getting that done. That was a huge thing that we have to knock out before we can make more progress. But the sooner we get that done and up and driving, the sooner we can pull this poor tired V6 out. Because one day a rod's going to come out of the block or something, and we have that understanding. The more we drive it, we don't go too far, so we won't have to wait a really long time for a tow truck to come and you know, scoop the truck up and take it back over to its final resting area. But we do have to go down to Virginia Beach area and grab the transmission, see a bunch of friends, maybe even pull the motor that we're going to swap into this while we're there. I don't know how ambitious that is yet, but it should be a lot easier once we have the motor and trans up here, that any time this motor decides to let go, we can get back on the road. I think also this is going to be a lot easier and quicker to swap since we're pulling the motor and trans out at the same time, and we're not doing a whole lot of crazy modifications. It's pretty much, it's almost a direct drop in and go kind of deal, especially with the standalone computer. Not sure why this car is tailgating us. It's not.
It's gonna pit maneuver us.
Like, it's not 25 through the neighborhood.
It's gonna hit us.
Nah, it'll be alright.
Yeah, it's green.
So I think that's going to be the end of this short update, just kind of letting everyone know what we were up to. And people on Discord already have seen all the projects that we're doing while we're on this impromptu home time, but just kind of wanted to make a video. It's been a while since we've made one, I guess since we were in the truck last. Let's give an update. Be a couple days, but you know, we're going to be all right. We definitely have our finances in order and debt's paid off and everything, so it doesn't really affect us. Obviously, you know, you always want money coming in and not going out, but you know, sometimes you can't help it. But it's it's a good feeling having disposable income so that we can just you know, buy a chunk of meat or buy car parts that we need, or tools or anything like that, and just not having to worry about how to pay the bills. So, all right, we're gonna end it there. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.